Hi, my name is Dr. Jon Dabach, and today in this short talk, I'm going to be discussing what to do if your wife or your girlfriend is a bit of a slob and making your house or apartment a total nightmare for you to live in. Now, before you jump into the comments and say, women the slob, aren't men usually the slob? Yes, you are absolutely right. Men are often the messier ones in the relationship. But even if you did this on a statistical anomaly of, say, 10%, I think it's much more than that. But even if you were to only say 10% of women are messier than guys, that's still 1 in every 10 relationships. You do the math just in America alone with 300 million people. There's a ton of men who are going to be suffering and struggling through this idea that they're going to have to live with this woman who is just a total slob. There will be other videos, podcasts that I make about what to do if your wife is OCD and much more neat and tidy. And I know that's a double standard, right? When the man is neat, he's just neat. When the woman is neat, she's OCD. We'll dive into that another time. But for now, I wanted to give you different ideas, different tactics that you can use in your own relationship that will help you deal with this situation. Now, first and foremost, the best thing to do is to communicate. Right. And I want you to know, I'm going to get this out of the way because I don't want every therapeutic or counseling type video I make to say, hey, just talk to them. Right. Now, the truth is talking is the crux. Communication is the core that you need to learn how to do. But there should be other tactics. There should be other ideas you can pitch. I think one of the biggest things that couples miss is being solution oriented. And so when people come to you, when your wife or your husband or your boyfriend, girlfriend, when they come to you and they have a problem, they often don't have solutions. And so it's hard because it just feels like a criticism. If you have a wife who is a lot messier, you should have solutions. You should have pitches, things that you can suggest that might make it easier on both of you, especially because women tend to hold what I call more of the mental burden in relationships. So if you go up to a woman, let's say you're married and you have kids, and she's busy doing the carpool and doing the laundry and cooking and she has a job. For you to say you're a slob on top of it, even if it's true and you don't have a solution on how to fix it, that's more mental load for her to carry and another thing in her head, and she just feels overwhelmed typically. Now, that's not every woman, but that's most women. I mean, I got to tell you, after dealing with 3,000 couples, women, unless you have a very neurotic husband, which is fine, women hold more of the mental load in the relationship. They take it more personally. They have a harder time dealing with it. And so having solutions is crucial. So what are some solutions? One, establish a cleaning schedule with specifically assigned tasks. Now, my approach with splitting up housework is that you should take on things permanently. In my family, I do the dishes. Now, I would say I do the dishes 90 to 95% of the time. My wife still chips in, and it's not an even balance, right? I do work more than her, so she does kind of have kindness once in a while and like takes over, or if we have like a bunch of people, she does the laundry, right? So I do the dishes, she does the laundry. Now, occasionally she'll tell me, do you mind moving the clothes from the washer to the dryer? And I say, sure, no problem. And occasionally I'll say, hey, can you help me out putting the stuff from the dishwasher away in the cabinets? Sure, no problem. But by and large, those are the exceptions, and there's no argument that way. I do the dishes, you do the laundry, right? And so in terms of setting up a schedule, be realistic on what that task needs for it to be accomplished in an effective way. If you don't do the dishes every day in a family like mine where you have 4 crappy little kids that make 7 cups of water appear on the kitchen counter every day because they don't know how to use the same glass, right? If that's your reality like mine, you're going to need to do dishes every day. You might not need to do laundry every day. You might be able to get away with doing laundry once a week. You might be able to use a service like Poplin, to be able to send your clothes away in an app, right? That's an option. But figure out how often things need to get done and then create a schedule that seems somewhat realistic. Speaking of services, the second thing is to hire a cleaning service for regular and deep cleans. If you have the finances, or even if you don't, if you can figure out a way to make room to hire a cleaning crew once in a while, it's a great idea. Even if you only hire them at the beginning once a month, the idea is they come in and they clean the house typically better than you will. And it sets a standard. It sets a mental and emotional standard for what the house should feel like, what the house should look like. and that's a good thing. So hiring a cleaning crew, even if it means you got to sacrifice Starbucks or you got to eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and pasta for a little while just so you can save up to have it and then see what kind of an effect it has on your relationship, I would say it's well worth it. If you are in a house where you feel like there's so much mess that you don't even have what you would call like a safe space to do your work, like an office area, I would say the first thing you should do right away is make a clutter-free zone, right? So your desk or your nightstand or your side of the dresser, your wife or your girlfriend is not allowed to put things on there. And in fact, if she does, you're allowed to just push it into, and you should have an agreement, right? If you put anything on this side of the desk, I'm just going to push it to yours. I'm not going to clean it up. That please, I've taken a lot of care in making sure this part is nice and tidy for me. It's good for my kind of mental organization. I just want you to know I'm going to push it. Similarly, you can have clutter zones. So that's the nature of what a hamper is, right? Instead of putting clothes all over the floor, getting a hamper, that is a clutter zone for dirty laundry. You could do the same. So if someone tends to gather mail, that's another big one, like postcards, mail, papers, and they're looking at it and it's spread all across the kitchen counter or all over the living room floor, as it has happened with some of my clients, I would say, make a designated place for the clutter, just like the hamper. Just say, hey, this corner of the kitchen counter, just stack all your papers there. They are going to not, follow that to a T, but any step in the right direction is going to help. You can create reward system. It doesn't work as well for adults as it does for kids, but if you have kids, getting a chore chart is fantastic, right? They want to earn money to be able to have some freedom as children. Make a chore chart. If there's something that you want to incentivize your wife, like, if you have the means to do it, having something like a beauty budget often helps. They say, okay, if you can keep the house clean for a week, I'm happy to treat you to a spa treatment or to pay for your manicure pedicure, right? That kind of stuff sounds pedantic. It sounds a little like I'm your dad and you're my daughter as opposed to husband and wife. But if you do it with care, if you do it with, look, I want you to feel like this is important to me, but I want you to feel like I have a hand in it too. And if I can't help with the cleaning, I want to help by rewarding you, for doing something that's important to me. So you have to approach it the right way. The other thing is to invest in organizational tools. One thing we did at one point with a closet that we were having a hard time organizing is we hired a professional organizer, and she came in. The first thing she said is, you guys don't have boxes and files and stuff. Let me go to the store and get it. And she got these little file cabinets, and she made us buy this bookshelf at IKEA that was able to hold different shelving and stuff. So you might need to hire a professional organizer like we did. You might be able to figure it out on your own. There's tons of videos on YouTube. There's podcasts about it. But having the tools to make the organization easier is a big part of the process. Take charge of the cleaning yourself, right? If there are certain things that really bother you, once in a while, with my kids and my wife, I just kind of have a temper tantrum and do a cleaning spree, and I do get grumpy, but I get a lot done. And so sometimes, if you could do it without the grumpy, even better. You're a better man than me. But sometimes you just kind of have to do it. The other kind of thing that I've noticed with people who are messy and cluttery, they tend to be more of a hoarder than the partner. And so one thing you should really look to do is, on a somewhat regular interval, have like a big clean out day, have a big donate day. One time my wife and I even hired a dumpster to be put outside of our house. Wasn't very expensive, and we cleaned out our garage, and we made a rule: if we haven't used something in a year, chuck it, right? Because at that point, it's like, it's not a seasonal item. It's not something you save for Hanukkah or Christmas. You just haven't used it in a year. In other words, you might use it once every 10 years. In that case, it's either not that important, or we'll buy it again if we need it. So, if it's taking up too much space, just chuck it. The benefit there is you keep decluttering, and you're building this mental pattern of, you don't have to hold on to things. And during the process of cleaning out your garage, your closet, your house, whatever, you're also going to naturally organize as you regroup when you clean up after the things have been donated or discarded. The other thing I'll tell you, and this is the last tip, is try to make cleaning fun. Try to make it exciting, or a game. I've sung songs for my kids. like clean the house, clean the house, right? And we'll sing it together while we do it. Alexa is great because you can have a bunch of different little dots, echo dots. You can verbally, while your hands are knee deep, cleaning up papers and clothes and toys or whatever it is, you can scream out, Alexa, play so and so, and the radio will start. And so having a fun track of music, putting TV on in the background, although you have to be the kind of person that doesn't get distracted by the visuals, but you can do that to have fun with it. And then reward yourselves. After the house is clean, go out for a big bowl of ice cream or your favorite dessert or get your favorite pizza. Really celebrate it, because if you have this issue in your relationship and you want to overcome it, you should be able to celebrate the fact that you got through something that's a little bit challenging, that isn't natural, and you're building that connection that cleaning equals good, cleaning equals fun, cleaning equals reward, and you want to do that. It's much better than yelling. It's much better than criticizing. You have a ton of tools now on how you can get this accomplished. Some cost money, some cost time, some cost just compassion, but there's going to be a technique for you to get a hold of this issue. I hope this was helpful. I will see you next time.